Hello there, welcome to We Are Crafted in His Image. I am here today with a little Technique Tuesday. We're going to use the Legendary Ride stamp set, and I love the motorcycle stamp. However, generally when you ink this up, you get a solid all one color, and I wanted multicolors. So I'm going to show you how I did this, how I got the different colors on this image. It's pretty easy. We're going to use our Stampin' Write markers for today. And yeah, so let's get started. I am going to pull out, and the main thing I'm actually going to show you today is just how to do that image. Putting the card together is pretty basic, but I am going to use the Stamparatus for this today. And as I said, I'm going to use the Stampin' Write markers. And because I'm going to stamp this same image multiple times over and over, I am going to use my magnets today and hold this piece of paper down because I don't want it to shift at all. There are a couple ways to actually do this. You could go and do all of the markering all at once and then stamp it down, but I actually want to get a couple layers of color on a couple of them, and I also found that I like being able to clean off if I accidentally get in the wrong place. I can wipe it off, and I don't have to wipe off stuff I've already done. So I've always put this behind. Makes it a little bit easier for me. I have something to steady it on, and I have four different. Actually, I don't need the blue. I have gray. Let's see, basic gray, basic black, and cherry cobbler. So I'm gonna get started with, I think, the cherry cobbler. I'm going to do that one first, and it was actually the last one I did on my original, but I'm going to go ahead and color in the areas that I want to be cherry cobbler, and that's going to be the fender, front fender and the back fender. And I'm just going to kind of go through, and you can see here I made a mistake already, and you can just take your finger, you can wipe that off. You can also use a Q-tip if you need to, or a baby wipe. Just kind of get that cleaned off there. Part of the problem is I need to lower my chair so I'm closer to what I'm doing, and probably put my cheaters on so I can see better. So I'm just going to get that colored in. There's that one. I think I also want the seat. No, not the seat. The gas tank to be. And I want the whole thing, including this little stripy part in the middle there. And then the other fender, the one in the back. This is going to be a lot of quiet time while I'm focused on what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to put a little bit of red on that tail light, just a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this one down. And I'm going to check and see. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it a second time so that I can get a little bit darker image, a little darker color. If you want to, you can actually do one at a time. That way it doesn't have time to really dry in between. So like I'll just do just this fender. Go ahead and stamp it down. Do just the gas tank. And then I'm going to stamp that one down, and then do the second fender back here. Yep, I need to go find my cheaters. I may have to pause the video so I can find those, so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. There we go, and a little bit on that tail light. There we go, I am done with that. Haha, found my cheaters. Put these on. Now I want to come in with the black, the basic black, and I want to go ahead and I'm going to do the tires. Now the tires are a little more difficult because there's that little skinny line where the wheel, the silver part, so you got to be a little bit careful in that area, but that's the fun thing. The nice thing about our Stampin' Write markers, they have a really nice tip on them. I'm also having a little more difficult time because I can't turn this to make it easier for me because I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. But generally I would turn this around so it's a little easier. Whoops, get on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. Now you notice I'm not cleaning this off in between. Like I didn't clean all of that burgundy or the cherry cobbler off of there because it doesn't really matter if it gets darker and darker, that's fine. And get this colored. Yes, this is a little more time consuming than just a single stamp. And this is probably one of the most time consuming ones to do this technique with. This is a fun technique to do with our flower stamps. I stamp that down. And then, oh, the saddle, or yes, the seat, not the saddle. Oh, I was thinking of my mother-in-law's saddle because she cleans my husband's saddlebags for him on his motorcycle because she uses the same stuff that she uses for her saddles for her horses. There we go. Get that done. And I think the other thing I did was the handlebars. Okay, now I do want these to be a bit darker because I'm going to come in with gray, and the gray, there isn't a huge color difference between the gray and the black. So I'm going to come and go over this one more time just like I did with the cherry cobbler, but I think I'll do a couple at a time this time. Since it's already got a layer of color on there, it tends to come out a little more intense. So there's that one. And now let me do the seat. This will definitely be the most time consuming part of this whole card, is just doing the coloring. But it's so cool when it's done. I feel like you're doing like block printing here, which is really kind of what stamping is. Okay, and the black is done, and now I'm going to come in with my basic gray and pretty much do, whoops, wrong end. We'll want to the brush tip end. Pretty much do all the rest of this. So if you want to fast forward past all this part, go right ahead. Trying to get that outline there. Then this part's quick and easy. There's a lot of silver details on this, and since we don't have a silver marker, I'm using gray instead. I wish I had a, what is that light gray? Smoky slate. I don't have a smoky slate marker. Otherwise, I would use that for some of this and going gray for others. But I am going to show you a trick so that you can get some layers of shading. Because some of this parts here would actually be further in the background than others. And so I'm going to show you how to make some of it darker than the others, even using the same marker. And that's really just putting more layers of color on it. So we'll start with our first layer here. I'm going to do everything all at once. There we go. Give that a good push down. Woo! Okay, now I'm going to come in the areas that I think would be further back behind, and so I'm going to darken them up by just putting a layer of color on just those areas. So I'm going to do these, I'm going to do this one. Let me see, what were some of the other areas I did? Okay, can you see how that got a little bit darker? I don't know if it shows on there very well. Hopefully in a minute I'll be able to zoom in for you and you can see. I'm going to do a third layer on that same areas. And I think I'm also going to do this, what do you call it? The hubcap, I guess? Not the spoke part though, just the center. There we go. And there, I think my motorcycle is finished. Yay! I like how that came out. So what I'm going to do now, let's go ahead and get these out of the way. I like to put them away one at a time so they don't snap together. Oh! Whew! Good job. Get that out of the way to clean later. And then let's see if I can show you how, put this on autofocus again. And can you see the different layers, how it got a little bit darker where I did a couple layers of that gray and then it's lighter in the other areas? Yeah, so there's that. Something for it to focus on. Put it on manual focus. There we go. So now I need to cut this out. So I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Cut machine here. Cut and emboss machine. It has such a long name. It's such a long name. Where did my die go? There it is. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Now because we don't have a magnetic plate, I am going to use some washi tape here. And as you can see, I've reused this washi tape several times to kind of hold that in place so it doesn't shift on me. And then put the sandwich on top and run it through. And now we have all of our pieces and parts ready to go. Get that out of the way. And pull that off. Now we can assemble, put our card together. So we're going to start with a half sheet of cardstock, folded at the halfway mark, which is 4 1/4. And I have been dying to use this paper. It is so pretty. I love it. I love it. So we're going to go ahead and put that on the bottom. I will have, as always, I will have all the dimensions for these over on my blog. So if you are watching this from YouTube, just check the description box below. It'll give you a link straight to the post that will have all of the information for this card. There we go. Now this is our silver paper, and I embossed it with what is probably one of my favorite embossing folders. I love this folder. It's so cool. And when I originally cut it, I cut it at 1 inch, and I thought it was 1 inch. I thought it was too wide for what I wanted, so I cut off and made it 3/4 inch. So we're going to use this, but this piece we're going to use on the inside. So let's go ahead and get some adhesive on this. Now since it's Tuesday, I got a tip for you. When you're using your Stampin' Seal, if you're having a hard time getting it to come out, what you're going to want to do is actually take this apart and check these edges for sticky adhesive. I took this out a few minutes ago, just before I started the video, and I pulled this big chunk of adhesive that was stuck right here, and that's why I was having such a hard time getting my stuff to come out here. It kept getting stuck to the case itself. So, little tip for you there, if you're having trouble, check for stickies. Get it cleaned off. There you go. So now I'm going to go ahead and get it where it'll... Oh, you know what? Mine might be just about out. Just about. Oh, there's some. Oh yeah, see, that works so much better than it did before. And I want to put this right up against that Designer Series paper with the pretty flowers on it. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do these while I'm here. So I'm going to go ahead, whoops, my scrap, I've got sticky on the outside of this now from me cleaning it. Now I need to get that off of there. Oh, that works so much better. It kept coming up and sticking up everywhere. Now, I've already stamped the Write On It's Your Birthday, and I used the same technique. I used the black marker on the It's Your and the Cherry Cobbler on the Write On Birthday part. There we go. And then this one here, I could use this adhesive. Let me see if it will fit. I actually used tear and tape on my other one because it's such a skinny strip. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with the, maybe. If you use this one, you do want to make sure none of it is sticking out. I've got to put a little bit on that end. Oh, there we go. That works. You don't want any of it sticking off the edges though. And then I'm just going to put this right along the bottom here. There we go. Such a fun little a little detail for the inside. And then back out here on the outside, it's just a matter of putting on our little medallion piece. I cut this from the Tasteful Labels dies. There we go. And you could pop this one up on dimensionals, but I wanted my motorcycle on dimensionals, and I don't like it to be too thick, or you may end up having to pay extra to run it through send it through the mail. So I just put dimensionals on the motorcycle and not on the medallion piece. There we go. I think I want one more right there, just in case. Okay. My little cup, which I found out this is probably not a teacup. It is probably a coffee cup. I never thought of that before because the size is so tiny and the shape of the pot that came with it, that is probably a coffee service and not a tea service. Ha, you learn something new every day. It's pretty and I like it, so I'm going to keep using it, even though we don't drink coffee in our house. There we go. And there you have our finished card. I have lots of masculine birthday cards this month. I'm so excited because I usually do not. And I still managed to get flowers in on this one. I hope you like my little Technique Tuesday for today. And until next time, God's love and blessings to you. Bye.